people want to avoid the pain because everyone knows, and people hear about stories about horrific birth experiences. But I wanted to change that. I wanted to have, and I set my mind on this intention that I'm going to have the most amazing birth experience. Those emotions, they get anchored into our body, and then it happens again and again and again, and then the anchor becomes stronger and strongly attached to the body.
I'm going to be completely honest here. I don't believe in hypnotherapy.
Pratigya, how do you feel?
Intrigued. That's the word.
And anyone knows that women are very powerful. As they are, they don't need to be hypnotherapists to have power.
You know, the witchcraft, accusations, and the death of hundreds and thousands of innocent women back in 1500s, 1400s.
They were doing this to maintain control because they were afraid to lose control.
I've got Valeria today on set, who is a life coach, but also is a hypnotherapist or training to be one.
Yes, training to be one.
Yeah, so I'm going to be completely honest here. I don't believe in hypnotherapy. And we met yesterday, and I'm grateful for you to come down here right on the second day to prove that actually it exists. It's helpful. And it has been helpful. I've got a lot of questions for you, Valeria. This is going to go quite long. so relax yourself. So the worst advice I've got is you are your own villain. So someone said to me, like, you just stop yourself from doing the greatest. Like, I was like, how can I be my own villain? And I think that's the worst advice I got. Do you agree with it?
I agree with it was the worst advice, or is the truth?
I don't know. What did you pick up from there?
Well, a villain. Villain has a villainous laugh as well, and villains are portrayed in films, and they are always they're working against the hero in the story. Without a villain, there wouldn't be a story, right? But the villain that's specifically, if you are a villain that holds your own self back, yeah, for sure.
So everybody portrays themselves as a hero. That's the constructual, human brain. We want to be heroes. We are heroes for ourselves. If you're not, then that's more of anxiety and depression issues, I think. I don't know. But can you obstruct yourself in achieving the greatest you can achieve in life?
Yes, you can. Because our life is written, the programming that we receive from conception to 7 years of when we turn 7 years old, that's the core programming that we receive. Whether it's from our parents, our caregivers, school, the society, we are being formed in a certain way. So, and also, I'm not sure if you're aware that, might need to research that, but there is a study that came out that our mind processes from 1 billion to 11 million bits per second of information. But our conscious mind can only process from 10 to 126 bits per second. So what happens with the data that our conscious mind cannot process?
So tell me about the difference between the conscious mind, subconscious mind, unconscious mind, and there is that link to quantum physics. Now you gave us a scientific data there. So what's the difference?
So it's also to do with the frequency that our mind operates on. So when you're conscious, you operate on beta waves.
Yeah.
And then when you go into dream state, when you sleep, when you're in REM, it changes.
Yeah.
But you can also be conscious and operate on an alpha level, on an alpha state. But it's a more
That's
relaxed.
a frequency.
It's a frequency, yeah. So you have to be a bit more relaxed.
Okay.
Most adults operate in beta.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's very much in their bodies, and it's not good or a bad thing. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
In order for you to see some change or become a better version of yourself, you do need to operate in alpha. Like alpha state really helps.
Okay.
So for example, I wanted to have an amazing birth experience with my second child because my first birth experience wasn't a particularly good one. So I learned how to take myself into alpha state, where I can control the pain, but whilst being conscious in my body. And I managed to give birth to my second child without pain relief, and it was just the most amazing, beautiful experience.
So in Hindu, or in my culture where I'm from, we call the labor pain as equivalent to 9 elephants dragging you. I don't know if I translated that exactly, but so you were saying that you didn't feel that level of pain at all.
It was the perception of the pain that changed.
So the pain was there, but you didn't feel it.
I felt it in a different way from how I felt when I had my first birth experience, and I was on gas and air, and things were just not, because I was induced as well, things were progressing so fast. I still was able to give birth to her naturally, but there were complications. With the second birth, because I wanted to change, I wanted to have a perfect birth experience. That was my intention. I set that intention. And I found a group of people who were teaching silver mind control.
Okay.
So I did the course. I went in there specifically to learn how to control pain.
Yeah.
And at the course, I learned how to take myself into a hypnotic state where I fully relax. And in the mind, there is a control room where I can change the pain intensity. So to experience pain in real life, it's really important because it keeps you safe. So if you touch fire, right, so you need to have pain. So pain is good. It's a protective, therefore protection, right? But obviously, because we live in a society where pain is considered like, women, like there's almost fear about giving birth. There's almost that fear about pain. And a lot of women just simply don't want to deal with it. They go for epidural or they have a C-section, whatever the reason is. People want to avoid the pain because everyone knows, and people hear about stories about horrific birth experiences. But I wanted to change that. I wanted to have, and I set my mind on this intention that I'm going to have the most amazing birth experience. So I was practicing where I was taking myself into a very relaxed state, going into my mind, into the control room, where I was dialing down the pain. So my worry was, will I know that I'm going into labor if I don't experience any pain? I was actually afraid of not having pain, so I wouldn't know that I'm in labor. That was like on the other spectrum of it. But when the day came and I just started feeling like things are happening in my body, and when we made our way to the birth center, and like I was offered to go into the swimming pool, into the pool, to birth pool, to use that as pain relief. That really helped me as well. And my main thing was to stay relaxed. That's all I had to do.
So what you're saying here is the mind controls us. There's a control room in the mind, and you're saying, the pain basically is a survival mechanism of brain, which is it's wired to do. So what you're saying is the brain is the controlling factor, or almost the king of a human being, or brain or a mind. What's the difference between a brain and a mind?
Well, some people think that the thoughts are stored in our brain, but actually with latest research they found out that they're not.
Where is the thought?
They are around us. It's a field. We're part of a field. So perhaps the parts of the brain, going to brain biology, I'm not a brain scientist. I can't really tell you exactly how brain works.
You need to get neuroscience.
You get neuroscience in there. You can measure the waves, the waves that are emitted from through EEG, and you needed to have these devices to measure the brain activity in the mind,
Yeah.
in the brain, I mean. But now they can do that without actually putting any devices on the actual head. They can measure the electromagnetic field around the person. So,
yeah.
I can't tell you exactly like the name of the researcher and how they said, but obviously the thoughts, they're not necessarily in the brain. So we'll talk about the mind, which is more of a field, and we're part of the field when we go into the quantum physics as well. Yeah?
So when we are thinking, we're emitting the thoughts or emitting energy in the form of the thought into the field, and that is controlling us. And do we need to gain the control back, or is it external? Is that is scaring me a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit unnerving, because when you become aware that your thoughts control you, then of course you want to take control of the thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you? And the thoughts that are passing through our mind they can be very negative thoughts, and they can be really positive thoughts. So going back to the birthing experience, there was so much information out there how terrible a birth can be, and not enough about how wonderful a birth can be. And it's about changing that. So the fear is about something bad happening, something like a bad experience happening. So by creating that fear in your mind already, you're causing blocks to yourself and attracting perhaps that experience. So going back to what you said about the mind, like if there is a control room in your mind and you can control the pain, and should we take control over that? I don't know, what do you think?
I think if we take a control over a control room or the mind, that's the epic story of human being, isn't it? We want control over everything. Now we're heading to Mars to control the universe. And there was a big competition to head towards moon to control the moon, but hey. So that means whoever controls the control room controls us. As in whoever controls the mind or the third thought controls us. And how is that linked to life coach support that you provide? And where is hypnotherapy around this picture?
That's a very good question. And we're going back to the basics, right? Like everything is energy and sound and energy, ultimately. And the question is, where do the thoughts come from? And what are thoughts? And there is also a thing that's called metacognition. It's ability to think about your thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, so that means that when we are in a field and there are other people and there's also frequencies coming from everywhere, broadcasting comes from every radio waves, and there's all this information we can't see it, but it's there. We can't see electricity, but electricity is there. It's powering our devices, right? So to be able to filter, because it's about the filter. It's like when I said to you that our mind processes 1 billion bits per second. Like, what is all this information? Because we consciously can only process from 10 to 126 bits per second. So what happens is that we have these filters built in with us. And the filters are, a lot of this information gets deleted, distorted, or generalized.
First two are clear. Generalized?
I had a bad experience with a dog biting me. And I'm now generalizing that all dogs are bad. All dogs are going to come and bite me.
That immediately reminded me of racism, but yeah, okay.
It's generalization.
Yeah.
One person did something, and then all the people are like that.
So the question I got yesterday around hypnosis was, the witchcraft accusations and the death of hundreds and thousands of innocent women back in 1500s, 1400s. I don't know when. Were they just people who were able to influence other people through words or through some sort of external control room powers? Or were they talented hypnotherapists back then?
Oh, that's a really, really good question. I would probably ask who was responsible for the witch hunts. And we all know that it was the patriarchal society influenced by the religion, by the Christian religion of monotheistic God.
Mm-hmm.
So those were men who were afraid of women. And anyone knows that women are very powerful. As they are, they don't need to be hypnotherapists to have power over men. But specifically in this case, about witchcrafts, because it was the church. It was the church that was attacking the women, the healers, because they were afraid to lose control. They were doing this to maintain control and maintain the one God of the Bible, who is a male archetype. And the women, they were healing. They were healers. The women who were burned at the stake.
How were they healing?
They were healing, whether they were healing through herbs, they were healing through word, through belief, and it's just a natural power. But I think the church would go after women regardless of what they were doing. I think it was just an attack on women and feminine energy. And that was the biggest mistake.
So then let's talk about influence. They were healing. They were, you said through medical herbs or whatever, they were healing, they were influencing people. At this day and age, who are the influencers? People, social media companies, extremely powerful, working really, really hard, spending billions of pounds on research in human psychology to be able to influence human behavior, and the creators who are creating content to actually be able to influence. So from that perspective, what you do, hypnotherapy and life coach, that is also influencing. Like, for example, if I've got anxiety, I will come to you and say, Valeria, I have anxiety, can you please help me? And I need to be influenced by the words you utter, right? So from that perspective, where is your, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, where is that hierarchy of influence, and how does it really help people? And have you healed anyone through your words? And it's a completely wrong place for me to ask, because we talked about witchcraft. Now I'm saying, are you a witch?
Do not burn me at the stake.
But what, it's more of, have you influenced someone to actually heal them?
I think the influence, because we are being influenced, and like you're very truthful in what you said about how much money the commercial industry, how much money they actually invest in learning about human psychology and human behavior, because they want to influence what products you're going to buy. It's about selling their products, their services, right? So,
or these social media companies, algorithms and all of that, same thing, isn't it?
For sure.
Yeah.
It's helping people to get into that, to get the dopamine level. Yeah. So they will create content like that. With regards to what I do with my clients, when my clients comes to me and presents themselves that I have anxiety and I want your help, like how much influence I can have over them, it's how much influence they want me to have over them. So I can never do anything to a client or put them into a hypnotic state against their will. Because when I see a client, they're already coming to seek me for a certain thing that they want to overcome. So they are already, the first step that they're making in their own change is by contacting me. That's already the first step for, I'm not going to say the word recovery, but to get on that path.
Yeah.
To be able to realize that, well, actually, I do need help. And I do need to see a life coach. That first, so they're already on that path already.
Yeah.
So when I meet them, and my first thing will be, because some obviously, client will be the first, I meet them for the first time.
Yeah.
And my job is obviously to get them to open up to me. So I have to be able to induce the trust in my client and build rapport really quickly, because I want to make sure that my client starts having results from the first session that they have with me.
But then, have you ever hypnotized anyone who does not believe in hypnosis?
No, you can't hypnotize someone who doesn't believe in hypnosis. Absolutely not.
Why? Is it because of their gods?
It's because of their belief.
That hypnosis doesn't work, or it doesn't exist?
Absolutely. If they don't believe in it, then it's not going to work for them. Then don't come for me and ask me to hypnotize you if you don't believe it.
So from, like, you know, the James Bond type of movies that come in and they would just touch on and the person goes, you know, that sort of, it doesn't exist, does it?
The person needs to be already inclined to a trance.
Yeah.
So it works like NLP. Have you heard of NLP? Neuro-linguistic programming?
Yeah.
So it's about the command.
Yeah.
And it is possible to do it, to break a pattern.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to induce hypnotic state, but it's not very ethical for me to do that in my practice.
Correct.
Okay, so when I work with my clients, they want to see change. They want to see transition in their life, whatever it is. So they're asking for help for me to help them to get there.
Yeah.
All the answers are within the client, because the problems that they face, they're unique to them. They're specific to them. So as a life coach and a hypnotherapist in training, I can be there as a guide, and I can ask them questions, and I can take it further, you know, why did they say this, and become aware of what they're talking about, and get them into that relaxed state for them to open up to actually deal with the issue. Because sometimes a client comes to me for one thing, but they're there for something completely else, different. And we discover this through the journey together.
Have you ever... How does it impact you? Like, so I'm imagining your day-to-day life is dealing with people who are terribly sad. Have you had an experience where you healed, you treated, or you asked the right question to your client and went home and cried?
Yes, because there is such a thing it's called transference.
Okay.
So I also believe that I'm always in the right place at the right time with the right people doing the right thing. So I attract people to me as well, not just clients attracting me to them, but I also attract the level of clients to me. And sometimes the client would be on a very similar kind of experience, maybe childhood traumas that are very similar to mine. So it's very relatable. And sometimes it can be like a transference. So I do think about them.
Yeah.
Because obviously not only I want to make sure that I give the best service to my client, you know, to help them transform.
Yeah.
But at the same time, certain topics, the discussions and certain things that they have, it's like, well, I'm actually dealing with the same thing.
Yeah. And okay. So I want to confess, and I want to see, and I want the audience to actually see that what you do can help people. So you mentioned to me that you specifically like helping people working on trades.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just my assumption, but I can generalize it. People in working in trades are hunky-donkey men with, you know, you've got the great guards on their face and that I'm perfect, I'm cool, there's nothing wrong with me, and they deeply cry inside and they don't realize that they're crying. So that's generalization, but I think, you know, it's quite common. I think. Is that your experience as well?
Well, it's common. I mean, the statistics speak for themselves.
Yeah. Is there statistics?
There are statistics, especially in the construction industry. 2 tradesmen commit suicide every day, and that creates a massive impact on the families of the person who give up.
Can we compare that data to something else? Like, are there doctors committing suicides? How many doctors commit, or any other?
I cannot compare that to other trades, but this is the trade that has the most suicides.
Okay.
And yeah, and according to even HMRC, they're doing their own statistics, and even how much financially, how much loss it is, not just for the family, but also to the economy.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about potentially generating income, and potentially what the value that these builders and tradesmen bring to the economy.
Okay.
So there's an outcry in the construction industry because the men are so strong and they're building our world, and they're putting that really strong facade, the mask.
Yeah.
And again, it's not generalizing, but talking about men in general, men are very, very tough, and they want to show how strong they are. And they still have emotions inside, they still have traumas inside that they need to resolve.
Yeah.
But they simply don't have those conversations because they need to be leaders or the head of the household, and that cry inside. And sometimes what happens is that when they are in a relationship for like 20 years, 21 years, and then that relationship breaks down, and they simply cannot cope with grief. So this is why I really want to work specifically with tradesmen in the construction industry to help them open up and to release that trauma that is still there.
Can trauma make us physically sick?
I believe it can, because you're storing something. You could be storing grief, storing anger, jealousy, whatever it may be.
And does it have physical consequences? Like, for example, if I'm storing anger, does it hurt? Like, I've seen a couple of social media posts about, does it hurt your liver or lungs, or is there that sort of connection there?
I know, like, there's a lot of this talk in the Chinese medicine.
Okay.
That they can map out the different emotions and different organs in the body.
Yeah.
I can't tell you exactly how anger, which part of the body that influences you, but usually when we experience emotion, whatever it is, we do feel it on our bodies. Like, we have a reaction in our body. And it can be even things like anxiety. It can be this tightening sensation in the chest. So when I speak to my clients and I'm asking them to describe to me what is the reaction in their body, they tell me they actually feel it in their body.
Yeah.
So when they feel when they feel the reaction in their body through thinking about a certain emotion, then how would that influence if they're keeping it there and they're storing it there? You see where I'm coming from? Like, of course, it has to have some kind of impact on the health, on the well-being of the person. Because
so when I feel emotions, I feel it on a certain part of the body, and it's reoccurring. It's the same place. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, if I feel anger, I feel it on my forehead, like right here. And there are some facial expressions that kind of, give that away as well. Say if I'm feeling scared, it's almost the bottom, right underneath the muscles there. I feel like, if I'm jumpy, there's that. And there are common expressions as well, like I feel butterflies on my stomach. So that's feeling nervous, and we feel it on the stomach. Do you kind of work around that? And do you feel the similar sort of sensations? And
yeah.
I mean, I think everybody notices them different ways, different frequency. But I'm interested to know if you've noticed anything in particular that is not generally understood.
Absolutely. And what happens, it's the anchor. So something unprocessed. And I'm going to take you back to the formative years between conception and 7 years of age.
Yeah.
Because when a baby is born, they can't really process what's happening around them. Mm-hmm. So in the in the circumstances, the mother will be there nurturing the baby, the child, and growing the child. But sometimes even for her to leave the room and leave the child unattended, and suddenly there is no mama is not there, that can evoke some reaction in the body.
Yeah.
And maybe that's in that moment that anchors to abandonment. So she left the room. The child felt something in the body because the baby was scared. Whereas mommy, maybe they wanted mommy for milk or for whatever it was, just cuddling, but she wasn't there. So those emotions, they get anchored into our body. And then it happens again and again and again. And then the anchor becomes stronger and strongly attached to the body. So different people will experience it in a different way. Certain people experience anxiety as tightening in their chest, and some people will experience it like tightening in their whole, like in the body. There's anger. People experience anger in different parts of their body. It's very, very individual to the person. So when we do speak about feelings and how does that make you feel, it's not about how does that make you feel as in like happy or sad or angry, jealous. How does that make, what reaction do you experience in your body?
And could we then hypothesize, I don't know the word, that those specific anchors, if, that is anchored, like for example, anger, if it's anchored in my lungs gonna get some disease, or can we hypothesize?
Hypothesize.
Hypothesize.
Sure. I strongly believe that.
Yeah.
That's why it's really important to. And you hear stories. You hear stories in YouTube and social media that certain people got diagnosed with things like cancer, and they were told that that's it. Like there's nothing we can do for you. You just need to die peacefully. But they didn't want to accept that. And they went ahead and they did the therapy and they worked on themselves and they forgave, because the biggest thing is not forgiving of something that happens in life, a certain trauma or acceptance of it, or forgiveness. So that's stored. That is stored, that's anchored. And then when people do forgive, then there is this amazing transformation. And then I'm not going to say on camera that people have been cured from cancer because they forgave, but you just need to listen to those stories, and there are so many of these stories.
Yeah.
That all it takes is forgiveness to move forward.
Okay. So what's the difference between phobia and fear, and are these both emotions?
Well, actually, phobia is the Greek word for fear.
It's the same thing.
So it kind of is the same thing, yeah. People can get really scared of something. They have real fear, and it engulfs their body. It could be fear of spiders, like that's a really common one, fear of spiders. Arachnophobia, that's the word for it, yeah. There are people who are scared of like enclosed spaces. Claustrophobia.
Yeah, that's me as well.
so there are different phobias out there. People who are scared of flying, and obviously all these things, they're preventing them to experience the full potential of their life.
Yeah,
because they're being held back by a certain fear.
Speaking of fear, the ring you've got is really triggering my fear of snakes. Is there a word for snakeophobia?
Well, I know how to
I've just made up that word.
I know how to say snake in Greek. It's phoebe and phobia. Is there a phobia? Maybe. I don't know. Need to check with Google.
Can you heal phobias?
People have overcome phobias, yeah, for sure. Can I heal phobias personally? I can certainly help my clients move past their phobias, yeah.
Can you heal my snakeophobia?
Wow, okay.
Do you think it's a good idea to do it on camera?
It's up to you. entirely.
What are my risks?
The question is, do you want to get past the fear of the snakes? Are you ready for that?
I think the fear of snakes has not personally impacted me so much, because there are no snakes in the UK, or very simple ones. But I wouldn't travel to Australia because of my fear of snakes. Okay. I think I'm very curious about why I'm scared of snake. I think that's my question. Why? So you did mention, like, it could be the experience that we've not realized. It's from conception to year 7, 7 years, and we may not remember, but also in a lot of cultures do have philosophies around past lives and the conscious, subconscious. I don't know what the right term is, but we do bring that past life experience, and so from that perspective, and this is not science backed, this is me, talking about philosophies, but also it could be that. So I'm really curious why I'm afraid of snakes when I've not encountered any sort of and this is something we spoke before the camera as well. So I've got this weird expressions. I commonly do this. I don't know why. Maybe it's just a dance move, but why do you do that? And I've got so many associations with snakes.
So have you been doing this before?
Before, yeah. Like, this is a very common expression for me since the childhood, and that I do that. I used to play around that and challenge my friends. Can you do that? And there has been multiple expressions or multiple experience of, I can remember that I can correlate to snakes. So would you be able to tell me? Can you hypnotize me and tell me why I'm scared of?
We shall see where this takes us. So obviously I'm just going to speak to you for now. I'll ask you a few questions.
How long is it going to take, Valeria?
Oh, if it needs to take all night, we shall. No, I'm just joking. We can do. We'll just see where it takes us.
Go on then.
So my question is, you mentioned something about certain cultures perhaps bring it from ancestry, or what did you mean?
Past life.
Past life, reincarnation.
Like, so I'm a Hindu. And it is in Gita. It is commonly, it's very, very common. Sort of, it's changing the body is like changing a cloth, and we reincarnate. There's a particular purpose. The purpose is enlightenment, or understanding that the body and the mind is not you, and there's someone else. So that's the common, or something that is in the Gita. So from that perspective, if the body is just a cloth for us, then probably mind is not, because mind is then travels within the body, right? So I'm guessing the phobias in the mind. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's very interesting that you mentioned that it's almost like changing the body.
Yeah.
What does the snake do?
Oh, shoot. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there we go. We didn't even need to hypnotize. You're bloody good.
What does the snake do?
Change the skin. But why am I afraid of that? Am I afraid of death? That is not. I am not afraid of death. And I've challenged myself a lot of times, and I'm certain that death doesn't scare me.
The word certain.
Yeah.
Is that an important word for you in your life? Certainty?
Yes. I mean, who doesn't like control? Certainty. Well, yeah. I think everybody loves certain things.
And we talked about control, didn't we, at the very beginning of the interview?
Yeah.
We spoke about control and how we want to be in control, whether control of our pain or whatever it is. And the biggest fear that, I'm going to generalize, but the biggest fear that humans have is change. Because change brings... What does change bring?
Uncertainty.
And change is very much uncertain. There are no straight lines, routines. And also, we get very used to, because we're used to the routine and the certainty and where we are and who we have become. And the change requires, growth comes with change, right?
Yes.
So what's in Australia? What's in Australia?
Snakes, cobras, anacondas. Not cobras, but anacondas.
Okay. What else is in Australia?
Heat.
If there were no snakes in Australia, why would you want to go travel to Australia?
I think it's pretty. Pretty in a sense. It's got a lot of clean water. Australia has long summers. Summer. Australia has summer.
Mm-hmm. And what is summer?
Prosperous.
Okay.
Plants, leaves, flowers, sun.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Okay. So the snake is preventing you to experience the summer and the snake of the unknown, the change.
You could say that. Yes.
Okay. So we've kind of connected the snake with the fear, with the fact that the snake does change, and it's reborn. It comes out of its skin. It's transforming. It's transformation.
Yeah.
Very similar to butterfly. From the little caterpillar, it goes into the cocoon and it hatches into this beautiful butterfly, and that's a transition. I identify with butterfly. I love butterflies, and because that's a symbol of transformation and change and freedom.
Yeah.
The snake is a very wise creature.
How is it wise?
It's ancient. The mention of snake is in very ancient literature, and there's always a snake. Have you noticed?
Yes.
There's a snake in the Garden of Eden.
Medusa, Shiva.
Medusa with snakes in her head, which is paralyzing fear. And I'm not sure if we can mention about the Olympic Mindscape, the 54-card deck that's soon going to be released. And one of the cards in that 54-card deck is Medusa. She's one of the monsters in the Greek mythology.
Yeah.
And so when you look at what's the story? When you look at Medusa, the person who looks at Medusa turns into stone. They're paralyzed. It's like Medusa is a fear, and it makes you paralyzed. So you cannot face it. You cannot look at Medusa because she's going to turn you into stone. The only way to deal with it is to see a reflection in a shield, or to look at the reflection and then deal with it. There are certain things that have happened to us in childhood that have been buried in our subconscious mind, which are so scary to face that it can turn us into paralyzing fear. We're afraid to go there. So the question is, do you want to find out why you have the fear of the snakes?
Do I still want to find out?
I want to find out, and how deep it goes.
It can get deeper than this? I thought this is deep.
Can it get deeper than this? Perhaps.
Okay, so let's recap. Snake of fear for me sounds like fear of change. So now we're trying to find out why am I fearing change?
And what is the change going to bring to you? Right?
That's the uncertainty.
Yes.
Can we find that out?
Well, it's very uncertainty. It's very general as well. It's very general, but we need to get specific.
Okay.
So we need to be able to see it. What exactly is causing the fear of change?
Let's see.
Okay. So do you mention that? Did you mention about where you have the feeling about this fear, especially when you think about snakes, or did you mention to me where you feel it on your body?
Right here. So jumpy type of feeling is right underneath the muscles, right? So right underneath, the pelvic muscles we have, where typically we call kundalini. But it's more of, with the snake, with the fear of snake, it's more of, I don't get the jumpy feeling, but it's just like icky feeling here.
So when does that happen? Is it when you see an image, like you looked at my ring and you...
When I see, not when I talk about it.
Okay.
Or when I see, or when I imagine one in my head.
So when you looked at my ring, you saw the representation, because it's not a real snake. It's just a ring. Yeah?
It's the slithering. It's how it's bended. Yeah.
It's also the twistiness of it.
Yeah.
Because the ring has got two snakes that they're coiled together.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's the feeling in kind of abdominal area.
Yeah.
And you imagine, so sometimes you will imagine the snake, like when we talk about the snake, you see the snake in your mind?
I immediately imagine Nagini from Harry Potter. Yeah, okay, yeah.
It's quite big.
Massive.
So that's not a small snake, that's a really big snake.
Yeah.
So we're talking about some really big change here. And why are we scared of it?
Yeah, I'm not scared of small snakes. That's an interesting observation. It's not the small snakes, it's the huge ones.
Okay. So in real life, if you were to go to a zoo or anywhere like that where you see a snake, which snake would that be?
If I say snake, the immediate mental representation is big, fat anacondas.
Okay. Do they have them in Australia?
Yeah.
I thought they're only in the Amazon, in the Amazon.
I have no idea.
Okay.
But also, I mean, not really big. I mean, big ones are the ones that immediately come to my mind. But also, like, the cobras you would have in India. I don't particularly find them, but I don't imagine them a lot. It's more of the big, slithery, Nagini type of snakes. Have you watched Harry Potter?
Don't remember the snake. I watched Harry Potter, but yeah. What's the snake? It's a big snake, from what you're telling me.
Nagini is Lord Voldemort's pet, was massive. But yeah.
So realistically speaking, we haven't got these kind of snakes in reality. I mean, the perceived reality that we perceive right now. Yes?
No, I think you would have.
You would have a snake like that.
Big
like
snakes.
Anaconda.
Anacondas,
the biggest snake.
Yeah.
But you also mentioned the these beautiful, I was going to say beautiful snakes. you mentioned the, what are they called? The cobras as well.
Cobras, yeah. But I wouldn't jump when I see cobra not in a position of hurting me. Obviously, I would jump, but I wouldn't jump cobras.
So the snake that we're talking about, this Nagini, this really, really big snake, Okay. What are you like when you picture it? And you just explained to me that you see it really big and slithery. And what else? What else can a snake do to you?
The black dots, the eyes, and the slithery mouth coming out at you. I imagine that.
Okay.
So
looking straight into the snake, straight into its eyes?
No, from the side.
Seeing the
ankle.
Okay. Sideways. So you see them
sideways.
So the snake is not looking at you. The snake is looking straight ahead of itself.
Yeah.
And you just see it from the side?
Not from this side, like 45 degree.
Okay. But it's not directly directed at you?
Never.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine snake coming at me. It would just be in my periphery, but not looking at me or not coming at me. It would just be snake.
But just the fact that it's there.
Yeah.
It's not coming at you. It doesn't have you in its coils. It's not tightening on you. No. It's just the fact that it's present.
Yes.
It's the presence of the snake, the presence of the change. That's unnerving. Not that it's going to eat you or sting you.
No, I'm not worried about that because death doesn't scare me. If that's the way to put it.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't be scared of dying by or because of snake.
Okay, so what are you afraid of?
Slitheriness, the lack of direction.
Okay. Lack of direction. Can you imagine yourself being the snake and seeing you next to you? Can you do that? Can you imagine embodying the snake?
Me becoming the snake?
Yeah, can you do that?
Yeah.
Okay. And you are next to it.
I am in it.
But your body, your current body, is next to the snake. You're inside the snake.
I am the snake.
You are the snake.
I am the snake.
You're the snake. Okay, so you're the snake. You're the symbol of the snake. You are in the snake. Where is the body? Where are you? This body. When you say to me that I sit here and I see the snake at 45 degrees, I want you to switch places, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to become the snake and the snake becomes you. Can you imagine that?
It's hard to imagine that. I can, not exactly on that position where the snake and I are in the same picture.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm out of the picture, I can imagine myself becoming the snake, but I cannot imagine, or it'll be a very forced imagination. It's not natural imagination, where the snake and I are in the same picture together, taking a selfie.
Okay. I know, because obviously we're dealing with phobia here right now. We're dealing with something that you're afraid of. So it's a little bit, what I'm asking you to do, it is hard. It's a hard, almost impossible thing to do.
Yeah.
To imagine yourself swapping places with a snake.
Yeah.
But you can take your time. If you need a little bit more time, and I know sometimes it might look like or sound like a little bit of an impossible task, what I'm asking you to do, but we're doing that in your imagination. Yeah, I like that. You closed your eyes. That's natural. You can close your eyes and you can take your time to swap places with the snake.
why do I have a, the pulse sensation here? And it's getting stronger.
Wow.
As I imagine.
And we almost talked about the anger as well. That's where you feel your anger.
That's what, yeah. That's
is
right.
Is it like, does this make you angry when I'm asking you to swap yourself with a snake? Is that?
No, I don't feel angry. I don't feel angry. Okay. I'm trying my hard. I'm trying my hard to picture myself and the snake together in the same frame.
Because you said to me that you can see the snake, and I was asking you, where do you see the snake? Yes?
Yeah.
And you said, I see the snake.
There. Yeah.
There. Okay? So you've got this image of you and the snake. So all we have to do is swap places. So you become the snake and the snake becomes you in your imagination.
Yeah. So that means I'm sitting there. I'm sitting there. Okay. Yeah, I can imagine. It's not very vivid.
That's okay. It doesn't have to be. So I will ask you then, what, now that you are the snake and you are in your peripheral, you see yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a snake, how do you feel?
Nervous.
You feel nervous?
My hands are sweaty.
Okay. You feel nervous. Why do you feel nervous?
Because I'm a snake.
Okay.
I don't know.
What does that mean, being a snake? You're a snake right now.
Evil.
That makes you feel evil. Okay.
Yeah, that makes me feel evil.
Okay. Can you see the human next to you?
Yeah.
What do you think of that human?
Passive. That human is passive.
Okay. Do you want to hurt that human?
No.
Okay. What do you want to do now?
Leave.
You can leave. And once you're making your way, describe to me where you're going.
Back. I'm going back.
You're moving backwards?
No, I turned around and I'm just going back.
Okay. Where are you going to?
To the kitchen.
Okay. What do you want to do now?
Just leave. I just want to leave.
Okay. You want to leave?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to count from 5 to 1. At the count of 1, you're going to open your eyes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Open your eyes. Pratigya, how do you feel?
Intrigued. That's the word. When you said, what's the snake's doing now? Before you said that, I or the snake had already turned around and left. So there was a big urgency for me to leave. How long generally does it take to process these kind of thoughts?
Well, I usually leave between sessions, about 1 week between the sessions, to allow the client to process what does that mean to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was really interesting how by you embodying the snake, there was no need to attack the human next to it. It just said that the human is benign. There was no urge to do anything like that. But you also felt evil.
Yeah.
That came up. That villain.
Yeah. Villain at the start of the podcast. Am I my own villain? Oh shit. We are processing it on the spot.
We are processing it on the spot. So there we go. So it's going to take some time because this is your experience. And all I can do is guide you. But we also said about how this was a different kind of trance induced because you were there. You imagined being a snake and you had to leave. I didn't ask you about the color of the snake. I didn't ask you what it looked like.
Camel brown. Almost all the snake that I imagine. Camel brown.
And again, the snake symbolizes the evil when it comes to religion. The snake has always been a symbol of this evil in the Garden of Eden. And in the Greek myth, there is also a lot of snakes. Like we spoke about Medusa.
Yeah.
But even God Apollo, the oracle of Delphi, the oracle that predicts the future, is on a location where God Apollo fought a snake.
Yeah.
So there is that snake symbolism occurring there. What does that mean to you? Hopefully I'll find out how you feel after this interesting encounter with embodying the snake and the need to leave it.
I am almost lost of words. I have no words what to say right now.
Okay.
It almost felt like there are multiple layers inside my mind and I just penetrated a couple of layers in between. That's how I feel. Couple of layers down than I'm generally am. And yeah.
Also, because we are being observed, there is a camera in the room and we are being observed. So the experience is slightly different to if we were in a private room,
No.
just you and me, and we did the session. So there was this added extra observation involved here.
Yeah.
So we have to account for that as well.
Yeah.
The processing. But also the going back to the Oracle of Delphi, the lady that was, the woman that was speaking about the future and predictions and things like that, she was called Pythia. And Pythia, it's the snake, Phili, in Greek, from the Greek language.
Philly.
Phithi. Yeah. Pithy, like pithy.
Like a Pythagoras theorem, which I don't like the sound of.
Yeah.
And always avoided. Learning about it. Just don't like the sound of Pythagoras theorem. Okay, that's interesting. Is there anything that you have that can help me process? Or is it a wild thinking, just go wild?
Well, in the next few days, you're probably going to be referring back to what just went on here about the snake being in the snake. What does that mean? The evil. What does that mean? Also, the fact that the snake wasn't there to harm you in any way. It wasn't there to hurt you as the human. So you're going to be processing that at your own time. But I'd love to hear, obviously, how you feel after 1 week. I'd like to get back in touch with you and see how you are, like to see how you're doing. I'm writing a book that I will hopefully release on the 21st of June, the solstice.
Yeah.
About the inner Olympus. And the Greek myth is the map of the mind, which will go nicely with the 54 card deck that I've created.
Yeah.
Talk about the archetypes of, so all these ancient archetypes.
Yeah, let's have another podcast session. That's interesting. Okay. I'd love to read that book. I'd love to read it. And it's great to know that, the psychological healing and the wonderful work that you're doing, especially around trades, supporting men who have crisis but don't want to accept it, or that's a generalism again. It's good. And thank you, Valeria, for being here and spending this time with me, and helping me learn about myself.
Thank you, and hopefully I got you to change a little bit your mind about hypnosis.
Yeah, there's something there. I just don't directly believe in it. But there's definitely some power of,
I suppose a lot of it is just to let your guard down and to...
Probably is as well. That's a good observation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.